Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Kirsty, One Pen, Gavin, Arisena. Good morning. So today, the road to the center has more snow than yesterday. Especially, I believe, from the corner to the center. Never been cleaned, never been plowed, and even the main road uphill, it's been cleaned only halfway through because too much snow coming. And I was told that it's going to be more in a couple of days. So this year, probably the first year that I have seen this much of a snow during the New Year time. But having said that, doesn't mean that I haven't seen them here. I remember when we moved in 2016, summer 2016 here we moved, and around December time, it was a similar snow, but it wasn't that much like today. And I even had the courage with the excitement to build a snow Buddha. So consecutively for 2 years, I built a snow Buddha. So basically collecting all the snow from the road, from the corner to the center, all the snow I collected and built up a snow Buddha. That was the first year. And the second year again, during this February time, similar snow, heavy snow. So then again, I build up it as a snow Buddha with a meditative state, meditative Buddha. So that was quite a fun time. But nowadays, the energy and the enthusiasm to do that is no more, probably getting old. So there is no appetite for that, although I have seen children are making snowmen around. But today or this time of the year, probably the best, or this year would be the best to create a giant snowman, simply because there are so many snow. One of the difficulties when the snow falls in the center is our cottage is not insulated. So it's an old building, 128 years old building, stone building, and the plaster boards are not insulated. As a result, if you turn on the central heating, the heating doesn't keep. So although you may turn it on for hours, then still you can't feel the heat inside the cottage. Even people feel that outside is much warmer than inside. So, and yesterday I noticed because of the snow, and in the toilet through the window, snow also coming, seeping inside the toilet. So that basically means the windows needed repair. So it's not just the insulation that we have to consider to replace or redo the cottage, but also it appears windows too. And in my room that I am sleeping, also windows, the cold weather just seeps in. So now I use the cloths to block, but it doesn't block properly through the windows. So like that. So then a room that I am, it has a boiler, it has a water box as well, and not properly sealed. So with that, cottage is really cold, and it's really freezing cold. And like yesterday, I put the heating on since 9 o'clock. So obviously in the morning there is a 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock. Then again after chanting, I went back to cottage around 9:30. I put the heating on until about 2 o'clock. But never felt warmness in the hall, in the cottage, particularly upstairs and downstairs, the living room. And I put the fire, wood stove on, and I was sitting by the wood stove and reading books. And staying next to the fire for a longer time, again, it's not healthy. So evening, after during this meditation time, after the chanting during the meditation time, I could feel the tension in my head. That the tension was basically due to exposed to the heat too much. So probably the cottage also needing the repair or needing insulation. I remember a couple of years ago, after heavy snow, one of the years after heavy snow during a February time for a whole month, I investigated to insulate one room, and the quotation was like really high. So then I thought that just leave it, and just left it until now. But now it appears that if the weather is going to be severe like this quite often, then it's necessary to be done. As I have said, that our center has very limited members who are supporting, and I do not want to bother too much. So I try to minimize all the expenses, and including the heating system. But when we have guests staying, it's inevitable to turn on the not to turn on heating, so we just have to put the heatings on. And sometimes when the members of the community come straight away, they will put the heatings on straight away. As a result, during the winter time, normally the bills are high, and this year particularly are going to be a little bit of a higher, as we have two buildings, and sister was living. So with that, sister needed a heating in the garden room, so she is also keeping the heating on much of the time. And despite of that, when she left the center 2 days ago, she noticed that the duvet she was laying to sleep on was dampness in it. So she brought the duvet to show me, and I told her, actually I did tell her about that before she went in to stay, and told her to have a proper beddings and put the proper sheets underneath. But she was adamant that it would be okay for her. And now she realized that it is not okay. So next time when she's coming back, So we have to give her a proper beddings, particularly one bed. I told her to put the bed in, but she wasn't keen to have the bed at that time. Now, having seen that dampness and duvet, so she has to have a bed in a cottage for in a garden room for sure. So this is the winter time, and this winter is a bit a New Year time and getting colder than before. With that, I was contemplating this morning as I woke up. I was reflecting that the room was very cold despite the heating's on. Heating normally on 5 o'clock in the morning, and that's supposed to be warm enough around 5:30 to go and fresh up myself. But today I felt really cold, so I stayed in the bed for 6:30 and then went for myself to fresh myself up. So before that, that I went to fresh myself up, I was reflecting that we have to be very mindful of our actions that we do. Some people do their actions with the intention to destroy or intention to make a damage in the world, and that's simply because of the ignorance or because of the greed or hate. And yesterday I was on that. I was reflecting. Yesterday, I was watching a clip regarding the Walk for Peace in America. A group of about 20 monks walking for something like 2,000 miles for 120 days something. And with that, many people came to welcome and parade about their walk for peace. There was one particular clip, a gentleman holding a poster saying that Jesus is the solution or something. And then another poster, I think I have the picture of that, or maybe I have deleted. I took the picture of that, the saying, and then another was saying that the world is coming to an end and only Christians are going to be saved saved. So be quick to follow the Jesus or something, and then a monks just walking through bypass, and then so this is the one. So it says that Jesus is the answer to your sin problems, warning drunkards, thieves, and saying hell waits, judgment is coming, don't go to hell. And then meantime the monks were walking along with this on the street, and then the man who was holding the banner saying Jesus is the answer to your problem, saying, you Christians in America, shame on you, like that. So monks are walking for peace, and yet there are a group of people, those who feel threatened probably, or not according to their faith. As a result, they are protesting. So rather than a protest, it would have been much better if they support peace rather than creating a conflict like that. So I was reflecting on that this morning, that it's not just him, but there are many other people, and there are many people who causes problems in minor ways, but those minors can make a domino effect to the giant things, as we have this theory saying that each one of us has contributed towards the global warming. And now yesterday I got the message saying that those who are fighting for the global warming should come to Aberdeen and see that the environment change in Aberdeen has a different, it's getting colder. I like that. So that's why it's quite interesting to observe our own effects and our own actions that we act or we do. Uh, and each action is actually not only affecting to ourselves, but to the surroundings and even to the environment. And that's actually in line with the teachings of the Buddha, that the Buddha talked about the cultivation. There are 4 different cultivations. First one is the physical cultivation, and second one is the moral cultivation or a social cultivation. A third one is the mind cultivation, and third one is a mind cultivation, and a fourth one is the wisdom cultivation. So in those 4 cultivations, we got to be mindful that which one and how we are cultivating. And this cultivation is always led by a right understanding. And with the right understanding, we are working for the development of the body, society, mind, and the community, and the wisdom. And here, cultivation of the body doesn't mean that we are concerned of the six-pack bellies or muscles and expression of like a wrestler's bodies. But the physical development, according to the principles, it is basically we are concerned or considering how one should be looking after physical well-being. So sleeping on time, eating on time, enough exercise, and these are the main basic factors for the healthy body and well-being. So that is what the Buddha was talking about. It's not about eating for fun or eating for beautification, but to sustain a healthy body, which will help us to carry on doing good things. So that is the first one. Second one is the sila. Again, as I have spoken about the Patimokkha last night, the reason of a recitation of the Patimokkha is to consider a practice of a sila and harmony in the community. So as a result, the practice of a sila not only for the self-security and the mental the calmness, but also it promotes the harmony in the community, in the society. So when everybody is following the rules and the regulation according to the country that we are living, then there will be a harmony. So that's why I always say that whenever you are traveling to any country or any community, first of all, you have to respect the rules and the regulation of that country. Sorry. First of all, you have to respect and follow the rules and the regulations of that country before you're putting your culture, your tradition, your rules and regulation. And after that, your culture. So first of all, the host culture, host tradition, and then a second is our culture or your culture that you brought in with you as you migrate. You cannot put your culture first in the country that you migrated. And then the last one is the religion. So religious practice should be a personal practice and should be given a least priority for own spiritual growth, rather than putting into the front, which nowadays is the main root cause of a social disharmony and a conflict, because everybody is putting the religion as the first, rather than the tradition and a culture of the host country. So the practice of a sila or a sila cultivation is basically the development of the community in a harmonious and cohesive way, so that everyone is inclusive rather than exclusion. The third one is chitta, development of the mind, or cultivation of the mind, as we know that the cultivation of the mind is the prime part of the Buddhist teaching, and simply because every action that we perform, it comes from, or this stemmed out from the mind. A mind, first of all, we think about it in our mind, and that thinking based on our understanding and perceptions about the things. So with that we act, we behave, and we speak. And those affects ourselves as well as others. So as a result, the mental development, according to the Buddhist tradition, there are two different types. One is just to gain the calmness or the rest of the mind resting. The first one is a mind resting, and then the second one is the helping to realize the true realities. And this requires a significant practice, and this is also in a Buddhist term called the samatha and a vipassana. So the practice of mental development is basically keeping ourselves in a safe zone and not letting any other things, the worldly sensual pleasures, the defilements, to disturb the mind. And to do that, first of all, we observe the object, or take the object to focus on. So with that, our mind will be focusing on one object. As a result, it won't be distracted. So then mind becomes a one. And then normally distraction is the key that causes failure in our life. There's one particular story that one of my nieces, I have been trying to support her to get the foot on the ground. So I was supporting her to study, but later on, as she was about to come to the end of the bachelor's study, she was distracted by having a boyfriend, and she wasn't able to complete. And similarly, I supported her to go on the nursing training, so that in the future I could support her find a job around in the UK. And she went on studying this nursing for a couple of weeks, and then for the last month of the course, she was again distracted by her boyfriend. And then I was trying to take her to abroad, but somehow she stuck due to other distractions that she went on. So as a result of those distractions, her life is in a kind of a misery, and I feel very sorry. I have been trying and supporting her to get the foot on the ground, but because of the distraction, she was not able, or she is not yet able to develop her own mental state. So similarly, there is one story during the time of the Buddha. So there was a monk called the Meghiya. This Meghiya was the Buddha's attendant at that time, before the Venerable Ananda became the Buddha's permanent attendant. So Venerable Meghiya was holding the Buddha's bowl and outer robe and walking through the jungles. And it happened that they were walking along the river, and this Venerable Meghiya saw a beautiful mango grove. Um, Beautiful mango grove, and he thought that this is the right place to meditate. This would be conducive for me to go and meditate so that I can be liberated. And that desire, that desire he could not resist. So he went up to the Buddha and asked permission from the Buddha that would it be okay to go and meditate in that forest. And the Buddha told him, having seen his time, his duty and his responsibility, and now he's distracted by the beautiful and appears to be a more calm place. So the Buddha replied to him saying that it is not a proper time you to go. So, but this Meghiya repeatedly expressed his desire to go away and practice for a third and a fourth time. And at the fourth time, he, without getting a permission from the Buddha, he put the bowl and the robe on the floor, and he went away to meditate. So with that distraction of not continuing or not fulfilling his a duty and responsibility, as soon as he arrived in the mango grove, and he thought that he will be able to meditate much calmer and he will get the much fruit of it. But his mind was more distracted by the sensual pleasure and the calmness. So he could not meditate, and the more he tried to meditate, and those sensual pleasures that he had and the other disappointments he was facing, so those played in his mind, and as a result he could not meditate. Which normally the case that normally we have many practitioners normally think that they should go to certain places to gain the calmness or certain places to gain the wisdom, and then they go, but they are more infatuated by the situation rather than the actual practice itself. Whereas the mental development, the actual practice is supposed to be wherever you are, you could practice and keep your mind calm and peaceful. And that is the main key. So rather than searching for a place to meditate, it's advisable to practice meditation anywhere is possible. So wherever is possible, that means anywhere it's possible to meditate. And that meditation is basically ability to know the mind and ability to see how mind is functioning, and ability to define that the mind is going towards the negative or a positive. If it's a negative, then ability to stop it then and then, and if that's a positive, then cultivating it furthermore towards to see things as they truly are. So that is the third one of the mental development. So I'm just giving you a brief introduction about these things. And then the last one, sorry. And the last one is the wisdom. Here, wisdom is basically stemmed out from the practice of a mental development, that's seeing things as they truly are. And here, a development of the wisdom, again, there are different ways to do so. The number one is reading, listening, and then investigating, and then put it into practice. When we put it into practice, and then that would be the real knowledge. That doesn't mean that reading and listening the talks will not get the right answers. It will. You will have a good understanding about the map, that this map is the right map, but it won't be a right knowledge yet until you have properly investigated and put it into practice. When you put it into practice, then you will have a proper right knowledge that will not be shaken by any other things, any other incidents, but that right understanding will be firmly established. And what is the right understanding? The right understanding is about understanding that everything is just for the temporal. It's going to change, and because of the changing nature, inevitable to accept that causes a trouble and a suffering, and things that change, we cannot accept it as a permanent entity. And with that, we will not be entertaining things, and we will not be perceiving it as a permanent. We will not be perceiving it as me and a mine, but understanding that non-existential entity. So with that, our life becomes a much simpler, much lighter, and we will have a less attachment to everything. Everything. We will simply use them, we will simply be them or associate with them, and live life in such a way that will not affect mentally, and we take it as just one journey. And who knows, this journey could be the cause for the liberation too. So as a result of this practice, the Buddha said that there are three different benefits arises. The benefit is in this world, current life, we will be living our life happier, less problems, and then we understand this life is not the end. So then the second benefit is that after the destruction of these five aggregates, which is death, then we will be reborning in a good realms. So we will not be going down below the human realms. And then again, the last one is it's the cause that leading to the path and a fruition to get the liberation, to attain the liberation. So that's why it is the moment of a reflection, that whenever we are doing things, we have to be very mindful and reflecting on our things and what we do in our life, and looking after our own self in a different situation, different seasons, and understanding the suitability and also moderation of a consumption of anything will bring a real happiness. So I offer this as a reflection for today, and